Madam Clerk, if you could, if we could have a roll call, please.
Sir. Commissioner Abbott?
Here.
Commissioner Atkins? Commissioner Donald Blansett?
Here.
Commissioner Matt Blansett?
Here.
Commissioner Blevins?
Here.
Commissioner Cookson?
Here.
Commissioner Franklin?
Here.
Commissioner Grayson? Commissioner Hargis?
Here.
Commissioner Kirk?
Here.
Commissioner Nunley?
Here.
Commissioner Reeves?
Here.
Commissioner Reeves?
Here.
Commissioner Skiles?
Here.
Commissioner Thompson?
Here.
Thank you. All right, all of you have received your packets, hopefully, and in those packets were the minutes for the previous meeting. So is there any additions or deletions to in those minutes? If none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion.
Motion made, is there a second?
Second.
Second, all in favor saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Thank you. Agenda item number 6, Mayor Jackson.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Vernon McDowell is supposed to be on the agenda tonight concerning Big Fork Road, but he's a little under the weather, will not be with us tonight. Myself, Attorney Gallagher, and Chairman Abbott, we met with Bernie, I guess it was Thursday, talked about Big Fork Road and how can we legally make that a road where it can be used by the public when State Route 27 is blocked on one side or the other. So we probably had an hour and a half discussion, and you have a letter in front of you that Beth Jones has sent to Bernie concerning some grant monies and stuff that we've been looking at, trying to find. And the second thing on her list of things that need to be done is a property survey easements legally established. So in our discussion with Bernie, and my recommendation to the commission would be to for you all to vote to allow county attorney to pull together an easement agreement with the property owners, because there's been some lawsuits and some of the properties have changed out there. And they have sent out these easement agreements and see if the property owners are agreeable to give us easement across their property. And I'll defer to Attorney Gallagher with any other legal issues that we might have.
No other real legal issues, Mayor, but there is a survey that's already been done. Some of the road had been surveyed years ago, but the rest of it, Bernie has the drawings from Tennessee American Water, and he's going to share that with us so that we can use that to put together the easement agreement we would need for the road right of way. So that would be the first step in the multiple step process that Beth has put together for a grant application process.
How long will that take to get through that process?
The entire process?
Well, I'm talking about to the landowners.
We've already identified all the landowners that need to be contacted. And as it stands right now, most of them are local. There are a couple that are not local, but through the other landowners that we have communicated with, we're not aware that they will be objecting to the easement. So it's just a matter of sending it to them in a form where they can sign it in front of the notary and send it back to us. So this will be a matter of a couple of weeks if we could get their cooperation and send it back.
Basically, what you're gonna do is just follow the road that's there now.
Yes, sir. Correct.
It'd have to be 50 feet, right?
It does, yes.
I'll make a motion to allow Attorney Gallagher to send those letters out.
Okay.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. All right, thank you.
I have a question about that. Have you determined, is there determination been made about how much property each, so, because it's going to be varying on different property owners' properties. Do we know how much that is, and will they be aware of what they're signing away?
Yeah, we will include a copy of the drawing, so that each of them would be able to see how their individual properties would be affected. But you're exactly right. Some of those, especially the lots in the Skyland subdivision, those lots are small. They're narrow and long with bluff frontage. The road sort of bisects those lots, so that part of their lot will be on the bluff side of the road. The remainder will be on the interior portion of the road. So those are probably going to be the most critically affected landowners. As you move farther towards Sequatchie County, you get into the large acreage landowners. They're not going to be impacted as much. But it looks like, from looking at the drawing, even those lots in Skyland, their building areas for their lots where most people are gonna wanna build their houses are not gonna really be affected by the road, because it's to the interior, well away from the bluff front in most cases, so I don't think they'll be affected that much.
Sounds good.
Well, the road that's out there now, the existing road, 2 vehicles can pass, so you ain't gonna, it's not gonna be much more than what the road is now.
Right, yeah, and any finished road that's put there obviously won't be 50 feet wide, but the county's regulations require 50
Right, I
foot width
understand.
for all the county roads.
All right, any other questions? Okay, thank you. Moving on to agenda item number 7, I think Mr. Chuck Keefe is not here.
He's not coming.
So, okay, we'll move on to agenda item number 8, Mr. Jim Hall, Marion County Road Superintendent. Okay, yeah.
Y'all should have this in your packet about the Brad Moore property. Jim said he is good with turning it back over to them, if y'all are good with it.
Is this, off of Francis Springs Road?
Yes.
How many residents are on the road?
They ain't none, it used to be a trailer park.
So there's
It's
no,
across from Calhoun property. I don't know how many, I guess the Brad Moore is the only resident on it now.
They are.
Yeah.
They're the only ones.
10 trailers in there, but
Mr. Dixon's niece now owns the property. She I know a little bit about this, and the trailer park is gone. All the trailers have been removed.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Yeah, second it.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Okay, thank you. Is that all?
That's it.
Hey, Andy, before you say that, last meeting, it was brought up about having a workshop with Jim about the roads, the critical roads that need to be paved, and maybe we can come up with some funding. Do you know if he's set up anything yet for that?
No, the ladies has been getting together a packet of what roads we have worked on. I think somebody wanna know if we had records of roads that's been worked on.
That was me.
Yeah,
But we also said we're gonna try to have a workshop to, try to come up with some more money to give y'all to pay some more of these roads. Do you know if he's done anything?
not that I know of.
Do you know Mayor, contacted you?
Andy, if you got,
Remind him of that in the morning.
Okay, I will.
Andy, if you got any further information on that Lee Morrison Road, that y'all supposed to be paid or something?
Yeah, as soon as we get through these high schools, Whitwell High School, we'll finish it up, David, it hadn't been raining. We'll probably go to Sherry Circle next.
Yes, sir.
It's state aid road too. Then we'll go to the mountain, because there's some other places on the mountain we're gonna pave while we're out there.
Any other questions, Breen? Yes, sir. Mr. Reese.
So my understanding is he's putting together a packet of the roads that are in dire need, and he's gonna present that to this board.
No, we want a workshop.
Yeah.
Well, a workshop for us to look at that information. Is that correct?
Yes.
Do you have any idea on the time frame of that?
No, I don't.
2 or 3 days.
24 hours.
I don't know, I don't get to see him much. I've been paving.
All right, thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Agenda item number 9, Dr. Mark Griffith, is he here? Yeah, there he is. Didn't see you over there. Give us some good news.
We got good news. As most of you all know, on July the 7th, we did open bids for the Jasper Middle School. We had 3 bidders, PSC Construction, TU Parks, and Tricon out of Cleveland. And the bids were, PNC was $40 million, TU Parks was $35,750,000. Tricon was $33,949,000. And today we started the value engineering process just right after the bids were open. Basically, value engineering is when we can go in and negotiate for, not give up any quality, but look at different items that we can save money on. And with doing that, you bring the contractors back to the table, all contractors back to the table. PNC opted out. They didn't feel like that they could save enough money to be awarded the project. TU Parks and Tricon are currently involved in that. I met with both contractors today as well as the architect, and we are in the process of having those conversations. Keep in mind that in this entire project, we're not going, and I know $25 million was allotted to the project, we're not going to be able to cut, you know, $9 million, $8 million out of that project. So what I'm looking for is just any option that we can to save money. I know Project Manager Gillum is currently going through list as well to see where we can go to save monies. We've already discussed lowering the building, you know, to save on brick, block, and all the above there, as well as energy savings. So I'm hopeful that, you know, if we can get $2 million out of the project, then obviously the board would have to award the bid, then we would have to come before this body to request additional funding. The bids are good for 45 days. August 19th is that date that bid expires. So right now we're locked in till August 19th.
So will you award the bid to one of those when?
Well, if once the numbers come in to where we have a hard number as to what we can save with value engineering, we're going to have a special call meeting and award the bid at that time. We have checked references on the obviously TU Parks and Tricon, and the references are coming back in place. We had a few questions about one of them on the change orders, but I got that cleared up today.
But that will be before August 19th, correct?
Yes, yes. It will have to be. Yeah.
Anybody have any questions for Dr. Griffith?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Reed?
Dr. Griffin, is there any grant money, say with solar, to help the heating and air? To try to help us there, any grant money from the government or anything like that?
Not at this time. I think we're too far into the project. We looked at geothermal, and everyone that we talked to regarding that was probably not a route that we needed to go. I had mixed reviews on that, so probably not at this time, Commissioner Reese.
Anyone else with any questions? All right. Dr. Griffith, anything else you want to?
Just, you know, we got a lot of projects going on currently. As Assistant Commissioner Morrison stated, I've had him paving for a few days, so, but we got the Marion County High School paved. We're finishing up Whitwell High School. Got new windows, new doors. I mean, we've got a lot of stuff going on, and just bear with us. We're trying to get there. We're having manpower issues as far as contractors and different things like that, but we're trying to get it to where it needs to be in shape. I'll say that.
And parking lots look good.
They do. I'm that's a long time coming, very appreciative. And I will say this, the county highway department, we got a good, they treat us right in that process and within the boundaries of the law, and we certainly appreciate it.
So will you update us over the next week or so schedule when children go back and all?
Yes, August 1st, teachers will be back. August 3rd, abbreviated day. And then that Friday, kids will be back. So currently we're full speed ahead, just like any traditional year beyond March 2020. So we're hopeful to start on time, push through, and start this year and have a good year. We will be doing a test score presentation to you all. Teachers worked hard, administrators worked hard, so we've had some more celebration that we'd like to talk about probably in a few months.
So everyone needs to be on their toes starting next Friday. Kids will be back out at the bus stops and
back out at the bus stops and things, traffic will be an issue for a few weeks. Also, bear with us on traffic, but we do have the new road that's opened up behind Jasper Elementary, and we feel like that's gonna alleviate a lot of the stuff that we've had to deal with in the past.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, next is the budget amendments, Marion County local government. Mayor Jim.
There's no budget amendments at all.
Okay, all right. Dr. Griffin, I should have asked you budget amendments for Marion County Board of Education.
Mr. Chairman, we do not have any at this time.
Okay, thank you. Highway Department doesn't have any. Moving on to agenda item number 13, Mayor's Report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As most everyone knows, COVID is surging again, not as bad of symptoms for most folks, more like sinus problems and headaches like that. Have talked with the county health director. There's no way to have an accurate number of how many we have in the county. And the state's not reporting the numbers for each county anymore due to the number of home tests are being done at home, not being reported. There is an increase in self-testing kits being given out at the health department, but there's just no way to track the number of cases now according to our health department officials, just due to the fact people are doing a home self-test and not going to the doctor. They're not that bad, so they're staying home. So just encourage everybody to take care of themselves. The number of deaths have increased by one since last month. We're up to 133 deaths due to COVID since it started. That's something we don't want to see. I don't know whether somebody's died, that's been sick recently. They're still updating numbers from earlier this year and late last year. They don't really tell you anymore much about what's going on with COVID and things like that. We received a number of RFIs this month from the state. One of them was called Parthenon. They were in search of a 100,000 square foot building, been about 50 jobs, $12.5 million investment. Project T, they were looking for a 35,000 square foot building, 50 jobs, about a $10 million investment. Project Juno, they were looking for 20 acres, 65 jobs. Investment dollars are not known at this time. We did send a packet back on the Highway 150 28 site right across from where the new school is supposed to be built. Also, Project Scout, they're looking for 45 to 60 acres, 300 new jobs, $275 million investment. We have sent a packet back on the Metal Dixon side in order to take the funeral home. So hopefully we can hear back from one of those two projects, and hopefully maybe land both those projects. Building permits for the first 6 months of this year are at 128 new permits for new homes. Value of those homes, $37,468,915. 2021 at this time, first 6 months, we had 121 permits, and the value of homes was a little over $31 million. So 7 more permits this year, and about $6 million more in value of homes being built. Also in your packet, I put in front of you tonight, you have a letter from the comptroller's office. Our budget has been approved. They're very committed to commission for getting our budget approved, getting it to them within a time period that they suggest. So they're very complimentary of that. And thank you all for getting that done, getting to the comptroller's office, getting that approved for our 22-23 budget. As we discussed last month, Beth Jones has retired as the Executive Director of the Southeast Development District. She will be staying on as a consultant, be working about 3 days a week. Last month, the Executive Committee, we met and voted to promote Chuck Hammond as Assistant Director, Executive Director, to be the new full-time Executive Director. He's been with the Development District about 15 years. Chuck's very knowledgeable, very bright young man. I think he'll do a good job and has a good grasp of what's been going on in the Development District for the past 15 years, and we think he'll do an outstanding job. Also, a couple weeks ago, Senator Marshall Blackburn was at the courthouse. It was about 15 members of the community. Had a good meeting, talked about health care, just some various items, small businesses, with some needs that are needed in the community, and I had a good meeting with her. And I want to thank her for coming. She's been to the county about 3 times since she's been elected, and done about 3 Zoom meetings during the pandemic. So she visits all 95 counties each year, so we appreciate her coming up through Marion County a couple weeks ago. Up down on Rail Spur, they're putting the track down on the section of rail bed between 156 and Port property. We did have a little issue with CSX. They not want to do this project from the start. By law, they don't have any choice. They tried to claim that our rail spur could possibly create a safety hazard by a lowboy grounding out on it. Our engineers did a drawing. Our track's about 3/4 inch lower than the main line. On the ramp, they approach us from the niggerjack side of the main track. The lowboy is more out to ground out on that side of the ramp than it would be across our track. So TDOT sent CSX a letter that that's not an issue with them. They don't feel it's a safety concern. So we never stopped work. So we're hoping this project will be done in September. And moving right along. Also earlier this month, South Pittsburgh Spark Group in the Tennessee River Towns, they sponsored a paddle event. It's supposed to be in Pitt to Port. TPA closed the river down around Bridgeport, so they changed their destination. They called it from Jack to Port, or Pitt. They had 103 people that paddled the Tennessee River. Great to see that many people in South Pittsburgh. I hope it helped their economy. I hope people went down and shopped. There's a lot of people that come to South Pittsburgh. There's some local folks, but had a lot of visitors. And that's a good event for them to bring more people to the south end of the county, so very well receptive. Good crowd of people there that day. And they had a safe journey. That's the main thing. This past weekend, if you was up around Kettner's Mill, they had a second annual Kettner's Mill rodeo, and had great crowds both Friday and Saturday night. Good to see those folks out. A lot of young people there, some local folks participating, barrel racing, and I think the cattle roping. There's a couple of young, local folks. We're glad to see that. Brought a lot of people to the county this weekend on the north. Earlier today, Commissioner Hargan and myself attended a couple of called Red Sand projects. Red Sand is to bring public awareness to human trafficking across the state of Tennessee and across the nation. It's a sad situation. We have to have these type of projects to bring awareness of what's going on, not only here, but across the country and across the world. I think it's about every 2 minutes a person either bought or sold in human trafficking. Sad part is 30% of these people, it's their own family members do it to them. It's a shame that our children have to worry about our children, being kidnapped and stuff like that. It's part of the society we live in. Across the globe, they think there's around 40 million people that are victims of human trafficking. 81% of them are forced trapped in forced labor. 25% of them are children. 75% are women and young ladies. So, if you see something you think suspicious, call the sheriff's department, call the police department, something. But so if you see some red sand on the sidewalk in front of the courthouse, that's what that's for. We had the health department held an event there this morning at 10. Had one out at the Child Action Center this morning. So that's called the Red Sand Project. That's what it's trying to bring awareness to that. It's just a shame that nation, state, our whole globe has gone to something this horrible. Tennessee's in the top 20. That's even sad. So just be aware of that. I was going to announce our next commission meeting, but we're going to have to think of change that. I'll leave that to the chairman there. That's all I have. Unless someone has questions.
Anybody have questions for me?
On that, health department, that booster shot, I know there's certain days you can go out there, right?
Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Tuesday, Thursday, certain time too, right?
Yes,
Is that for the test or the shot?
shots. Commissioner, I think it's 8:30 to 9:30, I think. I don't have those numbers.
On Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yes. One day is Moderna, one day is the Pfizer.
All right, any other questions?
Question.
All right,
I
moving
know
on.
we have
Yes,
I know we have a list of properties available for development. How many of those do we have across the county, and can you, and I'm not asking for an exact number, ballpark, how many lower end, middle, and upper end?
You talking about
For development, for these businesses that's in these areas?
manufacturing development?
Yeah, anything for
We-
jobs.
We only have 3 pieces of property under option through the partnership. That's the port property, I'll take that back, there's 3 pieces in here, the port property, the OCB&I property, and we have part of the Hovey property under option. Here in Jasper, we have the piece of property along the Lasters at the 150-28, and then we have the piece of property north of the Take Care Home under option. That's the only piece of property we have under option at this time.
I thought it, pardon me, I thought we had the property up there next to Prologue at one time. Did that,
He never signed the option.
he never signed the option?
And we've sent that option to several property owners on the north end of the county, and never have received it
No one's ever signed it.
signed back.
all right, Commissioner Franklin.
Yes, the health department, we okayed the grant for $300,000 they received here a while back. Do you know if they made any improvements? Or
Not yet, that's
where or
not,
what they're
we've
doing?
not received that amount of money yet, we've not received that from them yet, Commissioner Franklin. We are getting ready to bid out the awning that y'all approved back 6 months ago. That will be having a pre-bid meeting, and that'll be going out to bid this, August.
And, Cetra, I know that they've moved and their buses are over here, but could someone relate to them, they still need to mow, even if they're not.
Well, I saw that yesterday when I was at church, Mr. Franklin, and I'll let Chris Clehammer know.
Yeah, please,
Yes.
thank you.
Any other questions? All right, Madam Clerk, approval of notaries.
Christy Ellis, Chelsea Thomason, Jennifer LeComb.
Make a motion.
Motion made and the second. All in favor by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. All right, moving on to general business. Commissioner Franklin brought to our attention, or brought to my attention, several, or a few of the commissioners are requested to go to the county officials orientation program. Commissioner Thompson is one of those. And what I'd like to request is we move our meeting date back to the next Monday after our normal meeting date, which is supposed to be on the 22nd, move it to the 29th. There's 5 Mondays in August. And I would ask if any commissioners had any objection to moving our meeting to the 29th. It'll be the last Monday of August. All right, I'll entertain a motion. Motion made, is there a second? Second, all in favor saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. Mary Jackson, you can tell us when our meeting date is now.
August 29th.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Clerk, you'll need to run a special ad. Thank you.
All right, any commissioners have
I
any?
have some, Mr. Chairman.
Okay,
Karen Strain, Executive Director of the Library Board, has asked if we can name 3 new members to the Library Board. Stephanie Hutchins, Ryan Carter, and Megan Douglas. So I recommend those be put on the library.
Make a motion.
Second.
got a motion and a second. All in favor saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. All right, that's it all. Any other commissioners have anything this evening they'd like to bring up or discuss? Yes, sir, Commissioner Reeves.
The water projects, those are due the 31st, correct?
That's the TDEC non-competitive, yes.
Right. Then, when will we have a workshop on that, or will we have?
Yes, just as soon as Beth Jones receives those and gets those to me, we'll get them mailed out to y'all, and we'll send that in.
Mr. Cookston, you got that look on your face.
No, not tonight.
Don't have anything? Any other commissioner have anything? One? Yes, ma'am.
I wondered if Jean should brought some of these to hand out to the people in the audience.
No, ma'am, but if anybody is interested in having those, I'd be glad to email it to you. It just explains statistics and what the Red Sand Project actually is about. Started back in 2013, and the grains of sand basically represent the number of children, and children are mostly the ones being trafficked, but the grains of sand is just kind of a remembrance and to bring awareness. But I'd be glad if anybody needed a copy of that to email it to them.
There's something else. There's a sign that we should teach our children to use. We've seen it on television where this lady passes a little girl and man, and the child makes some kind of signal, and she grabs it because she knows that the child is signing to her that she's not supposed to do that. But I don't know the sign. Do you?
I'm not familiar with what you're speaking of. No.
I mean, the little girl, she makes the sign down to her side with her hand, and the lady grabs her because that's supposedly a universal sign that the child's in danger and that she's with a stranger. Stranger danger is, yeah.
I'll definitely find that out before next meeting, I promise you that.
Okay, yeah, do that.
We had a, anytime we have kind of good publicity for our county, we always want to bring that up. But, last week, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, Good Morning America had some of our students that represent the arts and sciences. They did the play in South Pittsburgh for Oklahoma. Matter of fact, Commissioner Atkins' son is one of those, and they were in New York and got to sing in front of a lot of people. Well, it's on national TV, so we had some kids from Marion County that got to sing on Good Morning America from our Oklahoma play that they had put on. So it was a great honor, and please pass along. That's a great thing for our children to learn. There's other places in this world, and glad they got to go see that and be a part of that. So
It's on the 4-H Facebook page if you know what's so good.
So if you go to the 4-H Facebook page, you'll be able to see that. That's a huge honor for those children that work so hard. So.
I think that's where Don's at. He's still there. He'll be back.
Oh, that's where you missed out. I got you. Okay. Yeah. Any other commissioner have anything?
Are they gonna send them back?
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn then.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor saying aye. Aye.